rushing to get things going during the day, changing your clothes. Let me put it to you this way. Have you ever gone on a vacation and felt more tired when you got back from the vacation than you did before you went on the vacation? Several years ago, my wife and I we were in preaching school, and as some have described, it's like drinking from a fire hose, if you can put that visual in your mind. It's 2 years of school. It's 4 years of schooling and 2 fast-tracked years, and there are breaks, but they don't feel like breaks. And so one year, I think it was in my senior year, we decided, we're going to go on a little vacation, get a break from school. So we decide we're going to go to Moab. Anybody ever been to Moab before? You've been to Moab? It's beautiful. There's lots of places to hike, lots of crazy rock formations to see. And I think in those 2 or 3 days we were there, we hiked somewhere between 30 and 40 miles. Walking around all these canyons, getting lost. We walked up to this big arch right here. It's absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. And this picture, it's actually like an illusion because that rock is way further from where he took that picture, by the way. It is so far. And so we go on this trip, we hike these miles, man, we get back, and I think we just slept for a day. I mean, that's the way that it felt. Sometimes what happens, sometimes what we call rest is just an escape. And it's not an escape, it's an escape from the realities of normal life. It's an escape from what I'm going through right now. It's not really is it really a vacation? Is it really a place to rest? Is it really a place to relax? Is it really a place, because more often than not, you go to Hawaii, what do you spend time doing in Hawaii? You spend time walking around, seeing stuff, being places, going somewhere. How many people just sit on the beach and do nothing for 7 days? You feel like you got to do something, right? And you go there to rest, to vacation, to relax, to recharge, to renew, and you end up doing more on your vacation than you do in normal life's week. Here's the opposite side of that. The opposite side of that is what we call rest. We think, well, should have probably done that before I got up here. We say rest is, or at least in our culture we picture it like, I'm sleeping, or I'm doing nothing. Yet somehow you can simultaneously feel exhausted from doing absolutely nothing. See, escape and rest are two different things. They are not the same things. People escape by going to substances, or they find a new obsession, or they don't look at vacations as something that we would say are, non-restful. But see, we're constantly trying to escape the reality that we're in, looking for this ominous thing that none of us can seem to find, that none of us can seem to grasp, that none of us can seem to hold on to, that feels like it's ever slipping out of our hands. And Jesus offers an invitation. In fact, he offers 2 invitations, maybe more, to several different groups of people in the Gospel of Matthew. First one you see is when he calls Peter and Andrew, and he says, "Follow me." Remember that? He says, "Follow me and I will make you fishers of men." And we look at follow me and we say, follow me. Follow me is like follow behind somebody, like look at them and mimic them and do what they do, and literally follow. Like we literally look, it's like, how can I imitate and replicate the exact life of somebody? In the most literal sense we could possibly think of it. But what if I told you that follow me has much larger implications? What if I told you that follow me has more benefits than you think? What if I told you that the invitation to Peter and Andrew and Matthew was more about releasing themselves from the everyday burdens of life than it was to make them better people? Yes, it was to make following Jesus to make you better people. But it's not just to make you better people. It's not just to look at the status that I hold. Look at how I act. Look at how I respond. Look at how Christian I am. That's not the response that he's looking for. It provides something else that we don't typically see. And so when we get into Matthew 11, here's what we find. We find Jesus having to give an explanation of John the Baptist. His disciples come to him in the beginning of the chapter and they say, are you the Messiah? And Jesus has to tell them, and then he gives a tribute to John. And then he curses these cities who are unrepentant. They'd seen miracles, seen healings, seen signs, seen wonders, yet they didn't believe the message. And so he goes into this prayer in Matthew 11 that starts like this. At the time Jesus said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth. This is Matthew 11, 28 and 30. Matthew 11, 25. I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and intelligent and revealed them to infants. Now we look at this and we say, is Jesus attacking wisdom and intelligence? Is he attacking smart people? Is he attacking people who have used their skills rightfully? Is he attacking how much time you've spent going to school and how many degrees you've earned and how much time you've put into life and the things that you've learned? Is he attacking intelligence? Or is he attacking self-sufficiency? See, because we live in a world that goes by, the culture teaches us radical individualism. Me, myself, and I am self-sufficient, and I can get it done, and I can earn the degree, and I don't need anybody to support me, and I don't need... And I. And you see, the same thing that we're dealing with in the modern world, Jesus is attacking here. He's not saying, I'm glad you haven't revealed these things to the wise and intelligent. That's not what he's not saying because you're wise and intelligent, you're not going to learn about Jesus. He's saying your primary problem is that you think because you're wise and intelligent that you don't need anything else. That you're completely and utterly self-sufficient on your own, capable of doing whatever it is that you want to do. The problem is you enough to find rest for you? Can you really find rest in yourself? This is what he's leaning into. He's going to begin to, I thank you, Father, you've hidden these things from the wise and intelligent and revealed them to what? Infants. Babies, children. Or maybe he's saying the simple-minded, the fisherman, the tax collector, the laborer. Reveal these things to infants. And then this is a really important part, because after he says this prayer, he makes this statement. He says, all things have been handed over to me by my Father. And no one knows the Father except the Son, and except the Father, and nor does anyone know the Father except the Son, anyone to whom the Son wills to reveal him. Why is this important? It kind of sounds out of place, right? But then here's the beginning of the invitation. This is why it's important. Hold on to that section for just a moment, because it's really, really important for you to see what Jesus is saying here and to connect it to the invitation that he gives in the following verses, where he says this, come to me. Come to me, not to your therapist, not to your preacher, not to your friends, not to your family members, not to your escape. He says, come to me. Come to me. Is he saying literally, like, if you see me standing in the corner, just come over to me, right? Is it like that kind of invitation? What is he saying? What is he telling you to do? He's saying if you're wearing these heavy burdens that you can only bear for so long, if you're living a life of self-sufficiency, all who are weary and heavy laden, you self-sufficient people who think you have to do it on your own, you religiously burdened individuals, all you who are weary, tired, and heavy laden, you've been working 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week. I don't know what Bay Area people work a lot. You guys work a lot. Everything's a rush. Everything's work, go, 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 go. And so it can be easy to disillusion yourself that you can actually find rest in the things that you buy and rest in the things that your retirement. I got looking forward to this retirement that I've got. But yet right now you're heavy and weary laden, and you don't think you need to lay it. You suppress it. You push it down. You don't lay it on anybody. You don't give it to anybody. You hold it yourself. It's your burden to bear. You're tired and weary and you're wondering, where should I go? And Jesus says, come to me. Don't go to your therapist. Come to me. Do you not think that Jesus can handle what you're bearing? And then he says this, and I will give you, look at this. This is incredible. I will give you more work to do. No, I will give you rest. I will give you rest. You come to me, you follow me, the same invitation that he gives to Peter and Andrew in John chapter 4 and Matthew in chapter 9. This follow me, the implications are so large. Why? Because who you follow eventually shapes you. And who shapes you, that's important. Who is shaping you? Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And then he explains it further. He says, take my yoke. Most of us, okay, I'm going to tell you something embarrassing here, okay? You ready for this? You know what I thought a yoke was for the longest time? An actual egg yolk. Okay, that's embarrassing. Bible student thought that for the longest time. Well, not in the last, 5 or 6 years. But before that, I was like, I read this and I go, yoke? Like, I'm thinking like an egg yolk, right? Like, what's a yoke? I don't know what a yoke is. What does it do? What's it for? How does it work? Why is he saying yoke? Does that make any sense to anybody when you think about an egg? No, it doesn't. That's why I'm confused. I'm sitting there going, why in the world does he say yoke? But in reality, here's what he's talking about. Well, they would use a yoke to bind two oxen together, to plow a field, or to carry a heavy load, or to bear a burden that men couldn't do on their own. We can't get two guys and pull this sled. We got to get two oxen pull this sled. He says, take my yoke. Take my yoke. In other words, take my bind with me. Take my yoke, or rest upon my yoke, and learn from me. See, he's offering you an invitation. He's offering you something that you didn't ask for. He's offering something that he can give you that the world can't. He's offering you something that the culture tells you you can get from accomplishment and achievement and establishment and material things, yet they can't follow through on their promises. Take my yoke and learn from me. He's offering something huge. And then, you remember that passage? You remember that passage in verse 27? When he says, no one knows the Father except the Son, and no one knows the Father, no one knows the Son except the Father. But then you look at this, he says, look, learn from me, for I am gentle and humble at heart. What is he describing? Who's this invitation really from? Because in reality, here's what's happening. He's describing the heart of God. He's saying, this is not just an invitation from me, a teacher, a rabbi, a miracle worker, a healer, a sign giver. This is an invitation from the Creator of the universe. To come to me. Take my yoke. Learn from me. And I will give you rest. For I am gentle. Not overly impressed with oneself. He's not arrogant. He's not haughty.